call of Yahweh. By Shemi Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. All glory and honor to Yahweh. In the name of his son Yahushua. Let me make sure. It's like I gotta check something real quick. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Yahushua. All glory and honor to the Most High. Peace and blessing to each and every one on this Shabbat. If you're keeping the Sabbath, according to how Fishermen of Zion, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, peace and blessings to you. All praises, glory, and honor to the Most High. Lord willing, you're enduring in the land of the living to the best of your ability through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shemi Yahushua. So we're going to open up all praises to the Most High with Psalms 122 through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shemi Yahushua. Call her Lord Yahweh by Shemi Yahushua. Lord willing, you're enduring. Don't count this as a light thing to do. Fishermen of Zion back with another video on the Sabbath. All praises to Yahweh in the name of your son Yahushua. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Now this is Psalm chapter 122, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. It reads, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord Yahweh. Our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. So all praise to the Most High that we still have the spirit and the power that's within us from the Most High to be able to read, study, come to camp, labor, and continue to think about all of the righteousness that he allows us to think about and have, as well as have a faith in the Most High. Because it's not according to only the law, statutes, commandments that we're able to do the things that he allows us to have, but it's according to his son Yahushua, the Messiah, who the world understands as Jesus. So we're glad to be able to have all the things that the Lord has given us in these last days. Now, while we wasn't glad, we was led into captivity. So it's important for us to be glad. Now this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I'm gonna start at verse 47, and it reads, because thou servest not the Lord Yahweh thy God, doing well, how are you? Because thou servest not this is Deuteronomy 28 and 47. Because thou servest not the Lord Yahweh thy most high God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So because we wasn't glad, the Lord allowed us to be overthrown by so many devices, according to the devices of old and according to the devices according to what's in the land of the living now. You know, shalom, shalom. So, you know, it's important for us to be glad. So we're going to jump straight into the lesson because we on a time schedule. Got to get out and get to camp. So it says state of depression. You better not give in, plus laws and commandments. So a lot of things was already written for our learning. I want to get this real quick, you know, because depression isn't something new. You know, many people deal with depression. Depression is very sought out in these times where we're living in now. It's so many things that can cause you to be depressed about. You know, you got children, you got work, you got bills, you got relationships, you got finances, you got a lot of your dreams and your goals not being met. You have just everyday life issues that may have just went out of your way, and things didn't go right. Many decisions that you made may have caused you to fall into a deep pit of depression. So we're gonna touch on some things, but this is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 9, and it reads, the thing that had been. So there's many things that has already been that's on the earth now, you know, especially you know, people that love their own genders, like a man on a man and a woman on woman. That's nothing new, you know. Like somebody committing murder, that's nothing new. Or a family member killing another family member, that's nothing new. The thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So there's nothing new that you think you've seen or you've gone through that the next man, woman, or child hasn't already gone through. There's many things in his life that you're going to go through that even when you open up the Bible, the prophets went through it. You know, wicked men have gone through it, have fell short of it, or even righteous men have gone through it and fell short of it. There's nothing new under the sun. Now, I want to get another. Now, this is Romans. I already quoted. This is Romans chapter 15. Depression isn't something that just came about only during the time of slavery, chattel slavery in the 1600s and the 1400s. That's not when depression started. You know, depression was way beyond that. It just wasn't called depression. It just wasn't known as depression because this shalom, this wasn't peace and blessings. This wasn't a word that was known because the English wasn't a thing around. You know, stupid guy. You know, it's a lot of scoffers on the comment board. You know, I'm not sure if you're saying you're stupid or I'm not sure who you calling stupid. You know, but you got to look up that word stupid and figure out what it means. So Romans chapter 15 and verse 4, we got a lot of scoffers on the comment board today. All praise to the Most High. Romans 15 and verse 4, and it reads, whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. So even things that was already according to the old days, you know, that was set up and done and predestined so we can have hope, so we can have the place where we can continue to believe. And through everything that we're going through, you know, regardless of how hard it is, how easy it may seem, or wherever our life takes us, we can always go back to the Bible and understand what it is that this person went through, or what I'm going through, or what you're going through. Is nothing new. Now, I wanted to get real quick. Psalms chapter 18. King David went through a lot of stuff. You know, many men in the Bible went through a lot of stuff. Now, this is Psalm chapter 18, and I'm going to start at verse 1, and it reads, I will love thee, O Lord Yahweh, my strength. The Lord Yahweh is my rock and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, most high, my strength in whom I would trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation, and my high tower. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So who in this life has been in the position like King David? You know, did King David fall into a state of depression? You know, did King David fall into a position where he no longer had interest in the Most High because of all the stuff he went through? You know, so a lot of things we got to go and look at what the Lord has allowed the mighty men before us and the mighty women before us. Now, I already got the understanding according to depression to pull it up. Now, you may be saying to yourself, you're not depressed, or I'm not depressed, you know, or you may have been in the position of depression, or you may have a family member that has been in a state of depression. You may have a loved one that has been in the state of depression, you know. But a lot, like we just read, things that was written for our learning, you know, is for us to have hope in. So this may not be a lesson that you need, you know, but it's always edifying to understand and identify many things and examine many things, because you don't have understanding and wisdom and knowledge just for you to just walk around and boast about it. You know, the Lord allows us to be able to help one another, to be able to build one another up, to be able to encourage one another. And if somebody else around you is going through depression, you know, many things can bring forth joy unto them because you identified and you helping them get over it. You know, you might have a brother or a sister that's going through a state of depression. So even when you look this word up, depression is a common mental health condition characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest. It can significantly impact a person's daily life, relationships, and overall well-being. So even in your day-to-day life, you may get some type of foundation where you no longer have interest in doing the things that you used to do. You may lose interest in many things if you have a state of depression. And many people have fell short and went through a state of depression, as well as many people are still dealing with depression and things like that, which also consist of feelings of guilt. This is due to the state of depression, worthlessness, or hopelessness, which is also a symptom, as they call it, dealing with the state of depression, which we ultimately know that these are spirits, you know, because somebody that decides to commit suicide, they didn't just wake up and just say, well, I fell short in life, so let me take my own life. No, that's a spirit, you know. So fatigue or low energy levels, that's also um, something that you can identify as far as being in a state of depression. You know, difficulty concentrating or making decisions, thoughts of death or suicide. So many of these things are identified when you understand that you're dealing with a state of depression. You know. Now I wanted to get this real quick. Now this is 1 Kings chapter 19. This is 1 Kings chapter 19. Because Elijah, you know, he was dealing with a lot. Elijah dealt with a lot, and there was a point in time where he wanted the Lord to take him off the earth because he was dealing with so much. But he didn't give in to it though. And we're going to read it. Now this is 1 Kings chapter 19, and I'm going to start at verse 4, and it reads. I'm going to start at verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 1. And it reads, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the word. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belonged to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. So these are things that you deal with when you're in a state of depression. You know, you're having thoughts of death. So he said, Lord, it is enough, take my life. You know, this is Elijah himself. And who's more mightier than Elijah? The prophet. You know, who's on a level of Elijah? You know, so he said, reading it one more time, 1 Kings 19 and 4. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, because he knew Jezebel was wanting to kill the prophets, you know, to take their life. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die. So he requested to the Lord that he die, you know, but he didn't give in to this though. He didn't run away from the Lord. He was running away from, you know, Jezebel wanting to, you know, take his life. He wasn't running away from doing the work of the Lord. He didn't lose interest in doing the work of the Lord. He didn't lose interest in teaching the Bible. He was wanting the Lord to take him off of the earth, you know, due to all of the things that comes along with the wickedness and how they try to seek the righteous life, you know. So he said, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him, and said unto him, arise and eat. So the Lord sent him an angel, you know. But he did call upon the Lord though. And a lot of people, when they get in the state of a depression, you know, do they call on the name of the Lord, which is a commandment which we should be keeping. You know, you can't give in to these things that you deal with. You know, you may have a failing marriage, your marriage may be declining. You may not be seeing eye to eye. Which that can ultimately cause somebody to get in a state of a depression. Because they may have put so much effort and so much strength and so much time and energy into that marriage, into that relationship, and now things seem like they're declining. Things seem like they're not going the right way. So that person may fall into a deep ditch of wanting to be taken away from the earth, want to separate from their family. They may want to, you know, put themselves in a position where they don't care about anything. These are things that you may deal with based on marriages, based on finances, based on family members, or many other things in life that you may have once had an interest in. You know, so Elijah, hey, he didn't give in though. He kept enduring. He kept pressing towards the mark. And a lot of people, they may find themselves in a position where they're not aware or they're not understanding why they're going through such things. Why have they gained weight? Why have they fell out of love with this? Or why have they fell out of love with such activities that they once used to do? They may be in a state of a depression, if you think about it. So I'm going to read this article according to hopkinsmedicine.org. Now, you can find this on the internet if you have internet, which a lot of people do in this day and age. Now, this is hopkinsmedicine.org. It says, the differences appear as early as adolescence, with depressed girls more likely than boys to be dissatisfied with their body image and to have guilt, feelings of failure, difficulty concentrating, and sadness. So even your children may be in a state of a depression. You can't just sit them in front of the TV all the time and just give them the remote, and let TV raise your child. You have to communicate with your children if you are a parent. Even so, you have babysitters, you have aunts and uncles, or however you want to say it, aunts, family members that even watch another's child. So your children may deal with a state of depression. Depressed boys, now we're still reading this article according to hopkinsmedicine.org. Depressed boys, on the other hand, are more likely to have lost interest in their usual activities and to be more downcast and tired in the morning. As we age, now it's going into adults, women are more likely, according to this article, women are more likely to experience stress and sadness. Shalom. Now, this article says women are more likely to experience stress, sadness, and sleep problems when they're depressed. Men, it says, while men tend toward irritability and impulse anger, men and women also cope with depression in different ways. With women more likely to seek help, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women, accounting for nearly 8 out of every 10 suicides in this country. Women, however, are far more likely to have suicidal thoughts. One reason for a higher rate of suicide in men is that they are more likely to use guns, while women are more likely to use less immediately lethal means like poisoning. So this article was basically saying that children even deal with a state of depression, and men on a higher level deal with a state of depression using weapons, and women more likely deal with the state of depression using some type of drug or poisoning and things like that. And the article was basically saying that men and women cope with it differently. You may have some type of symptom being known as anger in a man, and a woman may have some type of lack of interest, or you may like a woman might just sit in the house or sit by the window or stare at the wall or things like that. Like they used to say in the world, women kind of eat their favorite chocolates and they just eat junk food all the time. Which, as we just read, Elijah, he dealt with a state of depression. He wanted the Lord to take his life, but he didn't give in to it though. It's a difference from being in a state of depression and giving in to something. We're not so much so should be giving into these things, because the Lord did say be aware, examine many things. Now let me get this in Romans. We do have to have ourselves in a position where we're examining such matters, you know. But a lot of people, they don't want to examine many things because they, you know, they may just overlook it, you know. Now I want to I had a couple precepts in mind. I wanted to get this real quick. Now it says I want to get this precept, but I'm gonna read this first before I go back to this. I want to go back to this and read this real quick. Now this is First Kings. Now as we already read, we're gonna read it again, you know, because Elijah. The difference is Elijah dealt with a state of depression, but he didn't give in to it though. Now First Kings chapter 9. It's like First Kings chapter 19 and verse 4, and it reads, according to Ahab and Jezebel wanting to kill the prophets for overthrowing their idols, you know, which Elijah did what the Lord commanded him to do, you know, and what a righteous man should do, you know, because idols aren't real, they're fake. So he's not wanting the Lord to take him away because he did something wrong. He was wanting the Lord to take his life because, you know, it was a heavy burden. It was something that comes along with the flesh, because the flesh is weak. You know, the flesh isn't just going to be on the same level as the Messiah. You know, even though the Messiah dealt with a lot, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, the righteous, you know, he even said, why have you forsaken me? You know, but he didn't doubt though. He didn't give in. You know, let me read that real quick. Because the Lord was praying a lot. The Lord, he was had sweats of blood running down his face, you know. Let me read this real quick. So like I had to make sure that I'm at camp. Gotta make sure I stay on track. Now this is I'm in the parking lot. Now this is Mark chapter 15, and I'm gonna start at verse 34, and it reads. I'm gonna start at verse 33. Mark chapter 15 and verse 33, and it reads, and when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus, as we know him, Yahweh Shah, cried with a loud voice, saying, Elo, Elo, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And some of them that stood by, when they heard it, said, behold, he calleth Elias. And one ran and filled a sponge full of vinegar and put it on a reed and gave it him to drink, saying, let alone, let us see whether Elias will come to take him down. They thought he was calling on Elijah, you know. So you see many times where the Messiah himself called upon the Lord and Elijah called upon the Lord. When the Lord told us during a state where our backs is against the wall to call upon him. Now this is Psalm chapter 91, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. Psalms 91 and verse 14, and it reads, because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high because he had known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. So the Lord delivered and honored Elijah. The Lord delivered and honored the Messiah, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, the righteous. So even in a time where our flesh tries to get the best of us or tries to bring us down, the Lord, he spoke about many things that we need to do, and we will have a great reward. Now also, our flesh is gonna fight against our spirit. We deal with these things. We deal with anxiety. We deal with all these spiritual attacks that may try to attack us. But on the same lines, we got to make sure that we're not losing hope and we're not giving in into these things. Now, I want to read this in Psalms 20 real quick. Because, you know, even myself have went through a state of depression. You know, when I had a lot of things, even first coming into the Lord's truth, you know, I went through a state of depression. You know, but I fought to not give in to the flesh, and to not give in to the doubts, to not give in to the things that may could have overthrew me. And here I am, still striving, still coming to camp, still doing the work of the Lord. Not because I'm better than anybody else, but because I have faith and I trust, and I'm still striving to remain faithful and to remain having faith in the Lord, praying, fasting, reading, studying, and all of these things. But even within doing that, somebody may give in, or I could have easily gave in. That's why it's important to ask people to pray for you. That's why it's important to pray for others. That's why it's important to encourage, exhort, motivate, and many things that comes along with being, in the Lord's grace and mercy. Now, this is Psalms chapter 20, and I'm going to start at verse 7, and it reads, it says, I'm going to start at verse 6. This whole thing is beautiful. I'm going to start at verse 5. Psalms chapter 20 and verse 5. We will rejoice in thy salvation, and in the name of our God Most High, we will set up our banners. The Lord Yahweh fulfill all thy petitions. Now know I that the Lord Yahweh saveth his anointed. He will hear him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord Yahweh, our Most High God. So even according to the old, when somebody's life was threatened, somebody's life was being questioned, or their life was being in doubt, or money wasn't an answer, or a relationship wasn't an answer, many people try to run to chariots. Many people try to run to their weapons. Many people try to run towards a relationship, or a man may try to run to a woman, or a woman may try to run to a man when they feeling that void, when they trying to fill that void, when they trying to feel something that isn't there. But we as the Lord's children, we as descendants of Jacob, we can't give in to these many things. We have to more so continue to hold on to the Lord, because that's all we got. That's the ultimate only thing you have that's going to be guaranteed. Money isn't guaranteed. Even your marriage isn't guaranteed with somebody else. Finances is not going to be guaranteed, because this place is going to go down. Your children, they may not be, you may not even be around your children. So if you find yourself getting into a state of depression, you have to continue to come back to what you ultimately had in the beginning. In the beginning of everybody's life, and at the end of everybody's life, the Lord is there. He's always there. He's been there. So it says, Psalms 20 and 7, some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord Yahweh, our Most High God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save Lord Yahweh, let the King hear us when we call. Shalom, shalom to the saints. So even in the time where you falling short, or you're waxing worse, or you're in a deep pit where you feel like, you may be in a state of depression, not even aware of it. But this is why it's so important for you to continue to hold on to the Lord. Like Elijah said, and I said I was going to read it one more time, but I'm going to go back in here and read it, because you got people coming in and they may not be aware, So Elijah dealt with a state of depression. Now, reading this one more time, 1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 4. Now, this is after, Jezebel was seeking for his life. He was fleeing, he came upon a tree and he called upon the Lord, which is commanded. It's commanded for Israelites to call upon the Lord. Don't wait till after you done committed adultery to call upon the Lord. Don't wait till after, you done lost all your money at a gambling spot, and you done gave into idolatry. You done gave into covetousness. You done gave into the flesh. Don't wait till after these things, you may have lost the interest for something, and then you want to call upon the Lord. You got to call upon the Lord right then and there, because hey, we just read it. King David did it. Elijah did it. Even the Lord, we read it in Mark chapter 15, verse 33 on down. The Lord called upon his Father when he felt like he was on the cross for so long and things wasn't happening. And people forget that the Messiah himself was in the flesh. in the flesh, he himself called upon his Father, his Lord, you know, Father, why have you forsaken me? You know, you may have been in positions where you felt like the Lord has forsaken you. You can't be so righteous or so overly righteous to the point where you feel like the Lord isn't answering you. You know, you gotta constantly be coming before the Lord, getting on his nerves every day. You know, because like a sheep, you know, is gonna constantly nag the shepherd if they want something to eat. You know, like if you have a pet, your pet is gonna always constantly be scratching or making some type of noise, or you know, you might I remember when my sister had a dog back in the day when we was in high school, when we was in our mother's house. The dog used to my sister's dog used to, when there wasn't food in the dog food in the dog pot, used to always go up to the bowl and used to hit it, knock it over. You know, so even animals will make it aware to their owners that they want something to eat. You know, so even in the state of depression, as a man or a woman or a child, you know, many things will be identified for us to be able to go to the Father and to see, Lord, why have you forsaken me? Lord, I'm losing strength, you know. Now he told, even the Lord had told Paul, when you go to 2 Corinthians, that in Paul's weakness, that's when the Lord is going to make him strong. But reading this one more time, 1 Kings 19:4. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough. So Elijah said to the Lord, this is enough. You know, they want to take my life. They want to kill me. You know, he said, this is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life. He didn't take away his own life. He asked the Lord to take away his life, you know. And it says, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. That's what Elijah said. Now, let me read this real quick. I just quoted it, but let me read this real quick. Now, this is 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 7. It says, at least I should be exalted. This is talking about Paul and the thorn in his flesh. 2 Corinthians 12 and 7. At least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me. At least I should be exalted above measure. Because a lot of people thought Paul was on the same level as the Lord, you know, as the righteous, as Christ himself. So a lot of times the Lord gave certain men and women certain things, you know, and then a lot of people may come to you and worship you, you know. So therefore, it got to keep you in a humble state, you know. It got to keep you in a position where you're constantly not forgetting that you're a child of God, that you're a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that you're still in the flesh, that you're not Yahweh himself, that you're not Yahweh Shah himself. You know, so the Lord isn't going to take away these demons. He's not going to take away these thoughts. He's not going to take away these many things while people are constantly coming to you for answers and questions and coming to you for help. You know, Paul has healed people. You know, Paul has taken away spirits from people. You know, Paul has like done so much on a level to where people may look at him as if he is the Most High God. So that's why it says, at least I should be exalted above measure. You know, there's nobody on the same level as the Lord. You know, so therefore they've gotten attacked by spirits. You know, and Paul asked for this thorn to be taken away. You know, verse 8, 2 Corinthians 12 and 8. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. So he sought the Lord that things be taken away from him. You know, and many times we got to ask the Lord to take away things from us. But even if the Lord doesn't answer that, that doesn't mean we got to lose interest in the Lord. That doesn't mean we should give into the state of depression, you know. So verse 9, 2 Corinthians 12 and 9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So the Lord's strength is made perfect when we're weak. You know, most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach Christ may rest upon me. So we gotta gladly, glory in our infirmities. You know, we're losing sleep, but we're not losing hope. You know, we have pains, we have sufferings, we have all of these traumatic things that we got to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but we're not giving in into them. Verse 10, 2 Corinthians 12 and 10. Therefore, I take pleasure in my infirmities and reproaches and necessities and persecutions and distresses for Christ Hamashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong. So we got to allow the Lord to do what the Lord does best, But more so, we shouldn't give into it. We shouldn't continue to lose hope. We shouldn't continue to lose interest in the Lord. Now, I also want to get Psalms real quick. And a lot of people, they stay within that state of depression. They make it aware that they just continue to lay there and not put up a fight. We have to put up a fight. Now, I'm gonna read this one more time. Depression and you can look this up. Depression is a common mental health condition characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest. It can significantly impact a person's daily life, relationships, and overall well-being. It says it deals with low mood or sadness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities, feelings of guilt. Somebody could fall into a state of depression when they've committed adultery. And then the many things that they see from that person's life being destroyed, it significantly grows bigger and bigger. Like you may have laid down with another person's spouse. Next thing you know, it destroys their child life. It destroys their household once all hell breaks loose. And next thing you know, next thing you know, the guilt is overtaking this person's life, from both sides, And next thing you know, they don't even talk no more. Y'all just lay down for 10 minutes. Next thing you know, now you dealing with all these demons and spirits, Says feelings of guilt, worthlessness, or hopelessness, changes in appetite or weight, sleep disturbances, insomnia, oversleeping. So a lot of people may oversleep and not even aware why they're oversleeping. You may be in a state of depression. That's why. Fatigue or low energy levels, difficulty concentrating on making decisions, thoughts of death or suicide. What's his name? Even Judas Iscariot have committed suicide. Even Judas Iscariot. So let me get this real quick. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13. 2 Corinthians chapter 13, and I'm going to start at verse 5. And it reads, it says, examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, as the world know him as Jesus Christ, is in you, except ye be reprobates. So a person that has a reprobate mind, they don't know that they're reprobate. And a lot of times somebody that's dealing with depression, they may not even be aware that they're dealing with depression, Because a lot of people, just keeping it real, a lot of people that deal with depression, they hide themselves, So somebody else that may see them, that could tell that person that, hey, you're depressed. But if you stay locked up in the house, keep the blinds closed, never come outside, you're not going to be reproved, and that person isn't going to tell you that you're depressed. Get out of there. Come here. Look, let's get out. Look, I need you to get around. I need you to get around somebody. I need you to hear the words of God. So a lot of people, they may hide themselves. They may stay in bed all day. The only time they may go out is if they go to work or if they go to the grocery store. They only want to. If they do go to the gym, they probably gonna go to the gym when they know nobody's not there. You know, so it's important to examine yourself. You know, and then if somebody else isn't able to examine you, and you put yourself in a position where it's nothing but thorns and thistles around, so the only person that can save you is the Messiah, the Lord Himself. You know, nobody is able to come rescue you because you don't want to be rescued. You don't want to be saved. You don't want help. You know, you want to stay chained and bound up, which is ultimately a sign of giving up. You know. Now I want to get this in Psalm chapter 27. I didn't want this to be too long, but can't quench the spirit though. This is Psalm chapter 27, and I'm gonna start at verse 13, and it reads. I also got maybe one or two more precepts that I want to touch on. Psalm chapter 27, and I'm gonna start at verse 13, and it reads. It says, "I have fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living." So many times you will faint. Many times you might get weak. You know, you might deal with things in your life that's going to cause you to get off course. You know, but that's why we have the Lord. Just because you keep the law, statutes, commandments, or just because another person keeps the law, statutes, commandments, that doesn't justify us. Nothing is justified within keeping the commandments only. You know, that's why even when you read James chapter 2, you know, it's the works with faith. You know, because you're gonna fall short, you're gonna fail, you're gonna faint. You know, unless the Lord has been our help. You know, reading this one more time. Psalm chapter 27 and verse 13. "I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord Yahweh in the land of the living." It says, "Wait on the Lord Yahweh. Be of good courage, and He shall strengthen thy heart." So you got to wait on the Lord. You got to be patient. He's going to strengthen your mind. Because your mind may tell you different things. Like it says in Sirach. Your mind is going to tell you many things like 7 watchmen. It's going to tell you, okay, danger's coming. Another one's going to say, no, danger's not coming. Another spirit may tell you it's going to be all right. Another spirit may tell you, no, it's not going to be all right. Another spirit may tell you you're ugly, and then another spirit tell you, no, you're beautiful. You got 7 different things going through your mind, which 7 indicates a number of completion. You got 7 things going through your mind, you know, and you just don't know what's going on. You know, you have no answers. You just constantly getting overthrown by many things that's in your mind. That's why it says the Lord will strengthen your mind. It says one more time, Psalms 27 and 14. "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and He shall strengthen thy heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord." Now I just quoted it, but I'm gonna read it though, because your mind may tell you many things. You're ugly. You're not smart. You know. You're kind of fat. You're kind of skinny. You're too skinny. You know. You're dumb. You're not smart enough to teach the Bible. You know. You're not beautiful enough to be that man's wife if you're a woman. Now this is Sirach chapter 37 in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiastes. If you don't have Apocrypha, we always recommend that you get an Apocrypha. If it's still on Barnes & Noble or in Amazon. Now this is Ecclesiastes chapter 37, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. It says, "For a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower." So it can tell you, your mind may tell you you're hungry, but you're really not hungry, you know. And then 20 minutes later, you know, it say, man, you gotta go get you something to eat. And then 30 minutes later, you know, you're saying you're thirsty. You know, your body, your mind is fighting against each other, you know, as well as your spirit. And it says, Sirach 37 and 15, above all this, pray to the Most High, and He would direct thy way in truth. So a lot of people, when they fall into a state of depression, they don't even pray. You know, they just kind of want to lay there and just give up. But you can't give in to that though, you know. It says, I suffer from this affliction when I separate myself over sleep. Yeah, you gotta get up, you know. You gotta open up the word. Gotta get in that word, you gotta pray. Now this is Psalm chapter 20 and verse 5. It says Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 5. It said, counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. So your mind may tell you many different things, you know. And when you deal with a state of depression, you may deal with so much, and then it may put you in a position where you don't want to talk to nobody, where you don't want nobody to know anything. You may hide yourself. Your room is pitch black dark. You're not sleepy, but you're just laying there, like the individual just commented. You know, I've dealt with that before. You know, when I found out that my ex-wife cheated on me, there's many days and many years and many times that I've dealt with that. You know, but I had to call upon the Lord. I had to put myself in a position where I could overcome that and not give in to that. You know, because what do you gain from oversleeping and just staying locked up in her house and staying locked up in her room? You know, what do you gain from that? You know, it's nothing but darkness. You know, and you telling yourself you don't want to read. You're telling yourself you don't want to pray. You're telling yourself you don't want to fast. You're telling yourself you don't want to confess to nobody for them to pray for you. But what do you gain from that? You know, it's not going to do anything for you, but try to overthrow you. That's why you have to get up and fight. This is the condition of the battle that we have to deal with so much in this life, but it is meant for us to fight. You know, we have to fight. So it says, one more time, Proverbs 20:5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. You know, so you have to draw that thing out and get around somebody that has understanding that can help you and help you overcome that. You know, so Lord willing, that was edifying to you. It's many more things we can get on this topic, but you know, we gonna get some laws and statutes and commandments real quick. But before I do that, I'm gonna get this real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3, and it reads, "Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee." So you got to keep your mind stayed on the Lord, and you got to trust in the Lord regardless of what you're going through in this life. You know. So this is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 16. It's the Sabbath day, so we should be meditating and getting into the laws, statutes, and commandments. This is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 16, and it reads, it says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." So what is bearing false witness? Now I'm gonna get this. Now this is a law. You know, even though the laws is given to the Israelites. Now bearing false witness. Let's get the etymology on this. It says evidence for witness, you know. So it's basically going into lying against your brothers and sisters. So let me read this one more time. Exodus chapter 20 verse 16. It says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." So let me get this in the GNT real quick. If it allow me to pull it up, because a lot of these apps, they want you to pay for something before it automatically upload. So yeah, this is going crazy. So this is, let me go to this right quick in the GNT. It says, do not, this is Exodus 20 and 16 in the GNT. It says, "Do not accuse anyone falsely." Now, I want to get this in Proverbs real quick. This is Proverbs. And this is what the Lord hates. The Lord hates you lying on somebody. You know, he hates you talking about somebody and putting false statements on them. Now this is Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 16, and it reads, "These 6 things doeth the Lord Yahweh hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood." So we shouldn't be bearing false witness. You know, we should not be lying. And the so-called black Hispanics and Native Americans are bad for that. They'll just lie about anything. You know, you'll tell somebody that, you know, you've worked 90 hours last week when you really worked 78 hours. Like, Why would you lie about something so simple, like something so small? You know, you would just downright lie about something that foundationally small. So what would happen if something major came up? You know, you would just lie about anything. You know, when it just says the Lord hates a lying tongue. You know, so let me read this one more time. Proverbs 6:16. These 6 things do it the Lord Yahweh hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. So this is what the Lord hates. You know. Let me get Psalms real quick. Now this is the book of Psalms, chapter 120, and I want verse Psalms 120. I'm gonna start at verse 2, and it reads, Psalms chapter 120 and verse 2. It says, deliver my soul, O Lord Yahweh, from lying lips and from a deceitful tongue. So the tongue is very dangerous, because with somebody's tongue, they can ultimately destroy somebody's reputation. It can ultimately destroy how somebody looks at another person, especially if it's a lie, you know, especially if it's a lie. So King David said, Lord, deliver me from my lying tongue. You know, those people like to lie on you, man, you know, from lying lips. You know, people like to make you look bad because they may ultimately be jealous, you know, or you may have reproved them, correct them, so they may put false statements on you. This is why the law, statutes, and commandments is pure, enlightening the eyes. You know, let me get into Psalms real quick. These laws, statutes, and commandments and judgments of the Most High isn't given to us just to look better than the next person. You know, it's given to us, to help our nation, because our nation is jammed up. You know, our nation is jammed up with so much wickedness, folly, and madness. You know, and we can make things better by obeying the Lord, being obedient, and cleansing our hands. Now this is Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7, and it reads, it says, the law of the Lord Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. So we should be converting back to the Lord, getting back on a righteous foundation, converting towards the Lord. The testimony of the Lord Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord Yahweh are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord Yahweh is pure, enlightening the eyes. So the commandments should enlighten our eyes to the point where we've been lied to, and we understand that, and we're examining that, and we're getting things in the position where we're putting away all of the lies, we're putting away all of the idols, we're putting away all of the abominations, and we're gravitating towards pureness and righteousness to glorify the Lord, and to come back to the covenant that the Lord has made with our forefathers. You know. Now this is verse 9, Psalms 19 and 9. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord Yahweh are true and righteous altogether. So this is what's going to help us, you know. Now I want to get this in 1 Kings real quick. This is 1 Kings, and I'm going to start at chapter 22. This is 1 Kings chapter 22. And I'm going to start at verse 19, and it reads, 1 Kings 22 and 19, it says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. So this is things that's going on the spiritual scale. Verse 20, and the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab? And we know Ahab had a wife named Jezebel. Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this matter, so one angel said on the matter, and another said on that matter. So these angels was, you know, which they're reporting back to the Lord in the spiritual world. They're standing up and determining who's going to do the Lord's commandment. Verse 21, 1 Kings 22 and 21, and there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. Verse 22, and the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth And I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning thee. So lying is so deep to the point where it's beyond evilness. It's beyond evil. You know, it can overthrow so many. You know, so this is important for us to understand and to realize. You know, that we should not be bearing false witness. So one more time, we're gonna read this. This is Exodus chapter This is Exodus chapter 20. Like Exodus chapter 20 and verse 16, and it reads, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." So you got to make sure that what you're doing, because the Lord also said, you know, you should be treating your neighbor as you want to be treated. You know, so if you're not showing your neighbor love, then why would the Lord show you love? If you're not having mercy on your neighbor, why should the Lord have mercy on you? You know, this is Matthew chapter 22, and I'm gonna start at verse 39. I'm gonna start at verse 37. Now this is the words of the Lord in red letters. Matthew chapter 22 verse 37. Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy most high God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So you got to love, it says, and the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So as you love your neighbor, that's how you love yourself. And a lot of people don't do that. You know, they hate their neighbor, so more so they're showing that they hate themselves. And the Lord also told us in 1 John that love is keeping the commandments. So the laws and commandments consist that we don't bear false witness, that we're not lying on one another, and that we're not slandering false statements on others. So Lord willing, this was edifying to you. You got to get the camp. Peace and blessings to you. Keep the Sabbath holy to the best of your ability for the cares of this world. And also remember, don't give in if you're in a state of depression. You got to constantly seek and go before the Lord. Seek him while he is able to be found. Because a lot of people, they're going to wait till it's too late, and the Lord is going to shut that door. And you don't want that to happen to you. Fisherman of Zion back with another video. Lord, when this was edifying to you, don't count this as a light thing to do. All praises, glory, and honor to you, Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahushua. Peace and blessings.